It was difficult. It was shocking to them to say, you know, educators will get into the class, we just teach and go. But now it was, hi, what is happening? It's like giving us the answers. But they're getting used to it.
We will start off every workshop with a program, and the program is in front of you, so I'm not going to spend much time going over it. But what we are doing different today is we're going to start our new activity on day one. We noticed from the previous workshop that the second day we learned a new activity and we had to rush through it. So what are we reflecting today? Yes, what? I know. What is the previous one? Yes, what else? What else? What were we supposed to do? Lesson plans, what else?
Reflection.
That's all. And our reflection logs, that's it. Okay. Are we all together? Good. We all have this in our files, right? Yes? You should be having it in your files. The learning intentions or the lesson intentions or has to be visible or available to all participants or learners all the time. So turn to your files now and open up that section where that is there. This is a very serious aspect of this approach. You cannot be learning something if you don't know what it is you're learning.
When you introduce your learning intention to the learners, it makes it easier for them throughout the lesson that they know exactly what are the intentions of the lesson.
Simple. If you don't have it in your files, you need to write it now. It's not in your notes. Don't take shortcuts. You need to write it down as an objective that you're going to attain for yourself, because there's going to be success criteria for this as well. Don't use this simply because there's no space to keep this or what have you. Use the exam pads. You're able to identify 2 issues that you need to improve on, and hopefully you'll learn at least 1 new idea to apply in your class.
Let's shift the focus to this thing.
But you don't only about when you're going to apply this method, it makes them very, very challenges. For now, no challenges. Because I try to apply this in my classroom and it works to me. Yes. Days of the week, days of the week. Is there anybody having a birthday today? They have to tell me which number is missing. They have to identify the missing numbers. Ask questions from opposition view. Point it in, how do you solve a problem?
I could see that before my class. It was not that disciplined as I didn't know how to discipline. Yes. But when we come back, everyone was excited when we designed the cards, robot cards, what does the colors mean, I told them that it would be a no-hand approach.
No more hand
no more hand approach. So we are using
applying this to the cards.
We are learning to know and understand different kinds of shapes.
Inform you. So you have chosen that lesson. You are not discussing content. You are saying how you modified the lesson plan. How did you modify your lesson plan from the original one that you normally use in a classroom situation?
As I'm sitting with the participants and also listening to how they implement, I learned a lot, some dimensions in different contexts and how this AFL applies in different contexts.
it also addresses the issue of the learner-centered orientation, because whereby you don't dictate things or terms for the learners, but also you involve them, and they can also be in the position to acquire some skills.
The reflection exercise is core success. It's core to changing behavior, it's core to changing attitude. What we're going to be sharing in your groups, spend the 2 minutes. You should have done this in your group, but because of time, you didn't do that. Identify in your group what you think was, in inverted commas, the worst lesson. Now, we're doing that, it's a learning session. If everybody got excellent lessons, then we don't need to do that. We need to learn, we need to see how we improve. And present what you thought was a bad lesson, specifically why you thought it was a bad lesson, or lesson planning, or wall-to-walls, and what you did to improve. Our focus remember, the focus of assessment for learning is how do you move a learner from where he is to improve, to be higher. And that's our focus as well. So whatever we think was our bad piece of work, or not good enough, or piece of work we feel they should be improved. Okay, so maybe just select one and then we'll randomly select maybe 2 or 3 people.
As an educator, you must be an expert. You must be able to be versatile. That was the agreement of the group. And the last one issue we would like to clarify on what assistant we can get, maybe to say if we have got more content but less time.
Teaching is very much important. You need to always ensure that you have other educators who are having the expertise in that field where you are challenged to help you.
Questioning of our questions in lessons must flow with the intentions, the learning intentions, together with the success criteria. So as for learners to understand the learning intention and the success criteria easier. So in our groups, we had this challenge because we were discussing on this. When it comes to challenges that we have experienced, is that when we are to reflect, there are 3 columns in the reflections in that template. So with our facilitators, you observe, you reflect, maybe if I can get something to write here, so as to assist the colleagues. It goes through, you reflect, as it goes, and you plan. Thank you very much.
It's a link, from LIs, SC, and assessment activities. They must link together, and then you'll see your lessons will be profitable to the learners.
But now I know exactly that there must be a relationship or a link between the learning intentions and the success criteria also going forward, because at the end of the day, those 2 things, these are the things that basically will be developing a learner, or that will make a learner to acquire certain skills.
Just to make sure we relax, and before lunch we're going to watch a movie.
Effective learning.
Questions asked by the teacher play a very important part in the dialogue in classrooms. And one has to, again, think carefully what they're for. If you're asking questions which are closed questions, that is, there's one answer, often one word answer, like what's the unit of force?
Teachers from 2 schools, Lord Williams and Bishop Hatfield, have been working closely with Paul and Chris in their research on classroom discussion, and they will be showing us effective strategies that can be used to encourage questioning and dialogue.
So the leaders we're meeting over here. Let me take you guys back to focus on the learning intentions and success criteria. What are these people, participants equipped to the right good learning intentions, to the right good success criteria?
In my group, I would say 50%. So,
what is good and what is bad? What is some?
Some are able to write
what? How?
In my group of 5, 3 could write very well, but the other 2 it's lesson plans which they use the old system. It need everybody learning intention, need a success criteria.
Sorry.
What I found is that they couldn't differentiate learning intentions and success criteria. Their learning intentions are the same as success criteria because they are trying to match. Right? The learning intention and the success criteria.
So what this means is we need to stop and go back to the success.
I think so.
We're in trouble. If we continue, we have to go back to that.
But I think what was said earlier here is again the matter of so many learning intentions, how many success criteria. As you said in the beginning, they can be the same, there can be more. I think they should just get clarity on that. What do we really expect from them?
What is the learning intention?
Okay.
What is the success criteria?
Okay.
Because there's confusion.
Okay,
And also
that's fine.
differentiate.
Let's move forward. Sorry, sorry to cut you guys off. You do need lunch. We've got half an hour and I want to start it up first. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sit here and create another presentation.
We are going to use the reflections that we have from other facilitators, because as facilitators we also reflect individually, and then we look at what is it that each facilitator has a challenge in, and also the suggestions that they have. Those suggestions we can use and implement it.
It has to be on your own, because what are we trying to do here? We're trying to change individual behavior. In your classroom, we're trying to highlight individual strengths, we're trying to highlight individual weaknesses. So it's absolutely critical you reflect on your own. Okay? The reflection exercise is going to be a written exercise. We change this slightly different, and then we'll discuss it. This program is focused on formative because it's an area of weakness we have in our country as a whole. And in fact, generally in all education systems. Because most education systems, until recently, 5 or 10 years ago.
Exactly. I want to come quickly to the issue of parents, because we normally used to give learners assignments, workshops, and they go home. Parents do that for them, and then those parents who are not enlightened, they struggle a lot. But now this one, it makes life much easier.
It's valuable because in a way it also addresses the issue of the learner-centered orientation, because whereby you don't dictate things or terms for the learners, but also you involve them.
In your lesson planning, you need to already have some way that you're going to include oral feedback. Does it make sense? Okay. So 3 pieces of evidence. 1, explanation. 2, applications of the different strategies. And 3, inclusion or incorporation into lesson plans. 3 pieces of evidence. That's all. Not much. It's to move away from marks. Your views that marks and comments make a difference doesn't hold. And it's contradictory to your views that marks alone doesn't make a difference. You're right, marks alone don't make a difference. But if I'm a learner and you give me marks and comments, what do I do? What do I look at first? Once I look at the marks, what about the comments?
This video shows teachers learning about feedback, what it is, what makes it effective, and how providing feedback during learning helps students reach their learning goals. The practice of providing feedback to students has been highly investigated in educational research. Black and William, in their landmark study on formative assessment, state that descriptive feedback is the most powerful tool for improving student learning. The way teachers provide feedback to students determines how effectively the feedback can be used by students to improve. When teachers provide feedback to students about what they are doing well, what they need to improve, and how to improve, student achievement improves significantly. Has this ever happened to you? You've designed a task to assess students' learning, spent time grading their work and writing comments to guide students' improvement. When you return this work, your students focus entirely on their grades and pay little or no attention to your comments. Some calculate their percentage. Others immediately want to compare their grades to see how others have done. And still others wish to keep their achievement confidential.
And then I notice oftentimes kids get essays back and they just don't even read my comments. I'm like, I spent an hour on these comments, why don't you read them? But now, because they are learning that those comments directly go to what they're going to do to succeed, they actually read them. And that's a good feeling.
As facilitators, we will move in between the groups or the groups that you are sitting with at the moment, and we're going to sit with you and discuss and just have a look to how you review your learning, your success criteria. So that it is in line with your learning intentions, that it is friendly, child-friendly, the language that you are using, and there must be an activity involved.
By giving a comment, that makes a learner to think for himself. That may help also because the learner will be independent. Thank you.
And want us, as a group, draw the diagram below on newsprint.
Well, specific, non-specific, then positive and negative. I'll be more specific and also encouraging in a way, because isn't it that you also have to start from what they got that they did, and then we'll be also giving them that now. However, you need to correct 1, 2, 3.
Not everybody completed the work that they needed to do. That's your own reflection, that's on your own conscience, and that's on your own issue you deal with. The requirement is you need to apply this in 15 lessons. For each lesson we apply, we're going to need some sort of a lesson plan like you have already been doing. The difference we need to know now for many of us is in that lesson plan, in the additional work, we need to highlight the questions that we're planning to ask. Okay? We need to develop some sort of a lesson plan highlighting the learning intentions and success criteria. Are we clear on that? We're using the new success criteria we have. 2, the difference we need now, this is the one step we need to go. We need to identify the questions that we're going to ask. And these questions are linked to learning intention success criteria. And 3, we need to identify some types of feedback that we're going to be able to give. From the 15 lessons you use, we need you to bring, and remember you're going to select learner workbooks, you're going to give feedback for all your learners. We need you to bring from your average performing, 3 from your low performing. Remember our first workshop, how many lessons we asked you to do? 1. For each lesson, make sure you develop some plan, some routine about using learning intentions and success criteria. For each lesson, you must develop and insert or show the questions you're planning to ask. And for each lesson, you must have an idea of the types of feedback you're planning to give. So from the 15 lessons, you select one lesson where you're going to give detailed feedback to all your learners. And then, of course, you give the detailed feedback in the way that we did so far.
Yeah, I would like to thank actually SATU and TUT for this opportunity that they have afforded or awarded us. Because as a result, I realized that now I need to change.
It's going to work wonders if we will buy in, all of us. You know, I'm referring here to parents, teachers, as well as learners. It will work wonders.
And looking at how they implemented it, I think it's going to be very useful.
Notice that after everything that we dealt with in terms of the feedbacks, also the complexion will be changing now, because now we know that we need to apply the descriptives, and then we also understand why do we have to do that.
I'm at that level now. I'm ready. I can go and facilitate and assist other educators and give them the importance. Don't attend workshops and not implement.
So if they are willing to work together and assisting each other, especially those that have gone through this workshop, there can be an improvement in the results.